Okay, good. Hi, everyone. Just started the recording. So welcome to Upstate Real Estate Team Zoom chat. We're doing today talking about summer, all things summer. I have a big list of notes because we are who we are. I am who I am. We're going to talk about a lot of house stuff in summer, but also just like what should you do to really enjoy the area and like take advantage of summer, and what do you do when it rains for 5,000 consecutive days in summer. So what we've been experiencing. So I took a bunch of notes. I'm happy to answer questions if you have questions. Happy for you to share your comments, ideas, any of that stuff would also be totally cool. And I'm Megan Brenwhite. I am an associate broker. I'm also the head of the Upstate Real Estate team of Keller Williams Realty Hudson Valley North. And I see today we have Jen Brown with us, who's our team's chief of staff. Got new bangs that I'm trying to manage here. So Jen's actually the person that I'm going to, refer gardening questions to. So extra glad she's here. And I guess I want to just like preface this by saying that I was just talking to another client about this, how I always felt like I wanted to write a book about moving upstate called A Little Bit Country, because I'm not like I actually do not have a garden, and I love being outdoors, and I love being in nature, but I don't go on like 10-hour hikes and like climb and kayak and, whatever, build a wood-fired sauna. Like I don't do that stuff. So I'm like, I, on the like scale of like, I'm going to do everything for myself, I definitely fall on the side of getting help for a lot of things. So Jen Brown, who's also here, definitely falls on the scale of like, she does everything herself or ropes her family into doing it. So, there's room for all types of people up here for sure. So,
and you could be a little bit of both.
And you can be a little bit, that's why I said I'm a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. So actually I'm not at all rock and roll. I'm more like a little bit country, a little bit like early bedtime. So I wanted to talk about, I just like wrote a bunch of slightly, not random topics. I wrote a bunch of topics in no particular order that I was like, here are the things I think that like we should talk about and we should cover. So number one, what do you do when it gets hot in summer here? That is a topic because a lot of houses, most houses here actually don't have air conditioning. So, and that's fine 99% of the time, 98% of the time. So if you don't have air conditioning, one of the tricks that I learned from somebody early on, which is astonishingly effective, is to leave your windows open at night and shut them in the morning. Like your instinct is going to be like, oh, it's hot. Like it's 1 p.m. I want to like let a cool breeze in, but that's like not how it works. Like it cools down a ton in the Hudson Valley and Catskills at night, way more than in a city because there's not all the concrete and not as many air conditioners blowing heat out. So you get the cool air into the house and then you trap it and then you let it out, and then at night you like do the same thing. So that was like seriously one of the best tips I ever had. And we did not have air conditioning for the first 3 years. If you have ceiling fans, maybe everybody knows. I don't know if everybody knows this stuff. If you have ceiling fans, turn them in the other direction. Ceiling fans in summer should go counterclockwise. So if you don't know that, your ceiling fans should go clockwise in winter and counterclockwise in summer. And it's because it's pushing, it's pushing the heat down or up or whatever. Heat rises, yada, yada. So on every ceiling fan, there's going to be some kind of something that you can push that will allow you to switch it to go in the opposite direction. And that seems like, who cares? Doesn't make a difference. It makes a huge difference. Same thing is true in winter. If you switch I did not know that you should always use ceiling fans when you're heating with a wood stove, because it 100% like increases the efficiency by a ton. So that's all my hot stuff for right now. Does anyone have any other and Jose, I could do a brief market update at the end. I'll do that because I want to keep it kind of focused on this topic, but we can definitely talk about what's going on in the market. Short version, still very much a seller's market. There's still too little inventory. Feels less frantic than it did before. If you were thinking about buying, I would still buy now. That's the short version. Does anybody have any other like hot questions? Oh, if you do get air conditioners, I mean, the things that what most people end up getting here are called mini splits or heat pumps, and they look like, I have one there. See that guy up there? So we have that one thing for this whole enormous space. And then we have two little window units for the bedrooms in the back. But that one thing is like unbelievably powerful. It's quiet, it's efficient, and it dries the air, which is amazing. So that is what, I mean, almost everybody's recommending to put in now. It's way more efficient than like a normal air conditioner that goes through, you know, oh my God, what do they call it? Like vents and things, because it's just much more direct. So that is, it took me a minute to get used to the idea that I would have a thing, you know, sticking out on my wall. We just built a second building in our house and just used two of those, and that's going to be the heating and cooling, and it's great. It's really great. So ducts, thank you. I mean, there is a vent, but yes, I was definitely absolutely talking about the ducts. I mean, some people are using geothermal. I mean, if you want to get like more, you know, want to have a higher investment up front, geothermal can be used for both heating and cooling, and that is with ducts. So, but that's like another topic. But in general, I really find you don't need air conditioning very much here. That's pretty cool. And I'm not a warm weather kind of gal either. So my next topic of summer was water, which this summer has been like real talk kind of situation. So, you know, I'll do the fun stuff first. So obviously, like some people have pools. There are totally public pools everywhere. One of the things I think is super cool, if you're anywhere near Ulster County, you can join the Minnewaska Long Distance Swimmers Club. So you can do a test. And when you do the test, I mean, they're kind of booked to August this year, so it'll be more for next year. You just have to swim a certain number of laps. It's really easy. And you basically can then swim in Lake Minnewaska, which is one of the sky lakes. It's like unbelievably beautiful in the Minnewaska State Preserve. So you hike like half an hour and then you can swim in the lake in this like little area. So that's something I think is pretty great. There are swimming holes that are public, like that are legal. There are a lot that are not legal. And you know, it's really hard. It's one of the things on our app on Upstate Curious that a lot of people will ask, like, oh, where do you go swimming around here? And like, no one should answer that question, truthfully. Like, honestly, not in a public forum like that. Like, if a friend asks or your neighbor asks or something, like maybe then, but like, no one's going to answer it publicly because all the swimming holes are overrun. They're all, you know, a lot of them are illegal. Parking is a problem. Trash is a problem. So I would just look at the ones that are, you know, ask everybody you know until you find some places you can swim. Because swimming in you know, creeks and things is like seriously one of the most fun things. There are places that you can do it totally legally. Like the Blue Hole right now in the Sundown Forest, which is kind of sort of right between, it's in Ulster, but it's sort of between Ulster and Sullivan. They have new permits, so you can get a permit and go there. If you're going swimming in a swimming hole, you need to get water shoes. So that is like not something I knew before coming up here. Like I was just like, oh great, swimming hole. The sounds real obvious. Again, if this is obvious for everybody, feel free to ignore it. But like you're walking on the bottom of a river. It is full of stones, like mossy, slimy stones generally. And so water shoes will keep you from slipping and will keep you from also just like hurting your feet by walking on the stones. And they keep your feet protected from anything gross. So maybe totally safe, but like when your foot steps in something like super squishy, like if I'm going in something that's not a pool, like if it's a pond or whatever, it's water shoes all day long. And I just got some really super cute ones. I put a reel on Instagram, but they're called Native and they look like Converse shoes. They're so friggin' cute and they're not expensive. I just got them online and yeah, they're really cute. But you can also get water shoes at like outdoor shops. You can get them at like Walmart or Target up here. Oh, I have another question about the heat. Steve's asking, what about attic, exhaust, or whole house fans? I think it depends on your house. So, I mean, it does depend on your house. So sometimes those can be pretty useful. Our house in Kingston had one, and that was pretty useful. Our house here doesn't have an attic, so it would not be. I would say I would talk to a contractor about it if that's something that's going to help your house. There's all different kind of things you can do, and it does depend on, like, if you had shade and then cut some trees down, the color of your roof tile. We have a ton of skylights here, so different situations are going to require sort of different things. Also, your tolerance for heat will impact that. But I know we did have a whole house fan in Kingston, and that did seem pretty good. I don't know. I will also say that I don't hear anybody necessarily saying, like, oh my God, we installed a whole house fan and it's like changed everything. Our lives are different. I don't think it's that. I think it just helps. So yeah, I don't think it'd be the whole shebang. So right now, obviously, also water means like bailing water out of your basement because it's been raining so much. And that gets into a whole nother question about drainage, which is a serious thing and something to talk. Somebody asked a question recently on the app and they were like, do I talk to a contractor if I want to build in an area that's kind of wet? Do I talk to a contractor, an architect, an engineer? Who comes first? And it could be, I would say it would be an engineer or a contractor would be who I would probably speak with first. I probably would speak with a contractor, honestly. They usually have the most practical ideas about, like, oh, if we put a drain here and we do this, like, you cannot imagine how much of an impact a drain can have. And a French drain is basically like, if you've ever seen like a leach field, it's just like a pipe with holes in it, basically. They dig a ditch, you put a pipe with holes in it, you put rocks on top of that, the water goes in, holes on the top. The water goes in there and gets directed out somewhere else. That's essentially what a French drain is. And that, like, the back of our new building doesn't have gutters, it just has a French drain. So all the water comes down, it goes into this French drain and goes way far away from our house. And that is, I once spoke with a not a structural engineer, but an inspector who said, no, actually, it was a structural engineer. He was there for an inspection. And he said, I would not have a job if people had gutters and proper drainage. He's like, so many problems come from water. So it's like a good balance, though, to know that, like, the problems that you see when it rains for 3 weeks in a row are not are not problems that you're going to be battling every year. So it's like, if you have, like, I have spots in our lawn that just end up being puddles when it rains. And then I wait a day and they go away. So we're like never doing anything with that. It's fine. Like, I don't need to like truck in dirt or put in a drain. It's just like, it's fine. Some people, a lot of places here like have and again, I'm not a contractor, I'm a real estate agent. So this is just like who you want to talk to or people who are experts on this if you have a serious problem. But what I will say is that having a dehumidifier in your basement here is standard. It doesn't mean you have like a caca extra damp basement. It's like, I mean, I don't even know, like, it would be like having gutters or something. It's just like a standard thing you do to like protect your basement. So like almost every house we see has one of those, or or should, or the inspector says, hey, it should have one. Also, a huge percentage of homes here have sump pumps because a lot of the water that we get here comes from the ground, or comes into the basement and you want to get it out of the basement. And the sump pump is just like, kind of, the water gets directed to a point in your basement and then it goes into like a little hole and then it pumps it out of your basement, essentially. Those are pretty basic things. Again, doesn't mean your house is bad or anything. It just means that it's going to take on water occasionally. So I think that that's something, it is a good year to look at that and see like, hey, what is happening with water? Like, because this is going to be probably the worst it'll ever be. And I can just tell you that almost nothing can't be dealt with. It's pretty wild. Our house that's right next to a creek in Livingston Manor has super high groundwater. And that's just like, we just have ways to get it in and out of the basement as quickly as possible. So we don't assume that basement will be dry. We just assume that the water will keep coming in and going out as quickly as possible, because as long as that's happening, it's all good. It's when things stop that you really end up having a problem. So that is my discussion on water. Does anybody have any water related questions, either fun water or bad wants to kill your house water? Nothing currently. All right, great. Then I'm going to go to the next topic, which is bugs. So we've talked about this. We've talked about this with the person who's the owner of Pest Masters, which is the company that we work with personally. And, again, like I am a huge fan of a seasonal plan or an annual plan with a extermination company, so that we had a wasp nest that was like right in front of my desk here. And I just called them and I was like, hey, there's a wasp nest. And they're like, great, we'll come get it next time. They were coming in like 2 days anyways to do the quarterly thing. So they just came, took the wasp nest away. I got rid of it before it became a big problem. Ants are a thing that happens in summer, and flies are a thing that happens in summer. I mean, new bugs come and happen in summer. And in summer, it's like you want to, this is when we're like extra vigilant, obviously, about keeping our kitchen super clean, and notice like if we don't take the garbage out for a couple of days, all of a sudden we have gross flies. We have gotten one of those, I don't know if you guys have seen those, probably everybody has again, but like electronic bug zapping tennis rackets. I swear to God, it is like our new favorite summer game. It's horrible. Like I feel like it should not be that much fun to kill flies, but that thing is so gratifying. So if you do have flies, you've never seen an electronic bug zapping tennis racket, you can get them on Amazon, and they are incredibly effective and make it sort of fun to have disgusting flies in your house. Definitely this summer, everyone's still talking about the ticks and how bad it is. So, now I finally have gotten good about always spraying myself with tick stuff. So oil of lemon eucalyptus, like there's different natural ones that I just use as kind of like a basis now. I have one from Damn Good Honey Farm in Kerhonkson, but you can find natural bug and tick repellents like everywhere. And it feels like I'm finding less ticks now than I was a little bit earlier in summer, for sure. And I think that they get out of their like horrible like baby nymph phase as it gets later in summer when they're like more dangerous. So but I'm still like tuck my pants into my socks like a good 80s kid and do tick checks on the regular. I definitely am a fan of the Seresto collar for my dog. I know there's some, like if you Google it, it's going to give your dog a seizure and kill it. I've talked to like our vets, multiple people about it, and they said that it's not the instances where that happens. It's so unlikely, and it's the chances of getting a tick-borne disease is so high that it's really great. So that is that. Here's my other tip. This is really a just Megan only tip. So the other thing that's kind of annoying in summer, like I will say that I feel like there are less mosquitoes here than there were in Brooklyn. I don't know why. Like I just like don't worry about mosquitoes too much. And I guess it maybe depends on where you are, but we have a big like kind of swampy, marshy area right in front of our house, and we don't have to worry about mosquitoes much. But we do sometimes get like those little gnats. And we were walking somewhere the other day that had those, and I just like literally pretend that they're not there. And I know that that sounds kind of odd, but that's what I do. And I swear it works. I'm just like, I don't care. And everybody's like freaking out and whatever. And I'm just like, nope, these aren't here. And I can feel them landing on me, whatever. And if I just tell myself I am pretending these bugs are not here, then somehow I could just like be in the nattiest place and I'm good unless I swallow one and then I want to die. But so that's just like my gnat test or test trick. So that's some like bug stuff. I think getting ready for fall things is also kind of important. So we just had our chimney sweep just came here now. And I know that they are not booking. And I mean, the next available appointment was like sometime in October. It was definitely after we would have wanted to start to use our wood stove. So I think that that's a good thing, it's honestly a good thing to get on your schedule in spring to call them for an appointment in summer. But if you haven't yet and you have a wood stove or fireplace, I know for ours, they said that at the beginning, we should do it every year, and then they probably would go to every couple years. It just depends on the usage and what kind of fuel you burn and what kind of stove you have. But you want to get that happening regularly. The other thing related to that is that, ordering firewood is we're also kind of like late for the ordering firewood for next year. That ideally also happens in spring, but if you missed spring, you still want to get firewood now, like as soon as possible, just because a bunch of reasons. It gets more expensive, places run out, but also just because even if they say they're giving you seasoned firewood, it does not hurt to give it a few months to sit outside and, just be able to like actually get more seasoned. There have been instances where people sell seasoned firewood and it's not really seasoned, and then you really need those months so that you're not trying to light fires with like wet firewood. So also interesting, like parenthetical firewood thing. If it rains on firewood, that's not that big of a deal. I mean, if it rains for like 3 weeks, like I just did, it's not great. But like if it rains on firewood, that doesn't like make it like instantly wet. It just gets some water on the outside of it. When you're talking about getting it seasoned, it's like the whole thing is getting drier. So that you see a lot of people do not have covers for their wood piles, and it actually works. It's weird. So the other thing that is good to do in summer is furnace. So if you have a furnace or a boiler, oil ones, I've heard to get checked every year. Propane every couple of years. Again, talk to a plumber about that or an HVAC company and see how often you need to get that serviced. But that is something you don't want to have to service in the middle of winter. So it's good to do it in summer. So we just, like kind of plan all those like wintry appointments now. My understanding, Jen, is that this is the time of year I've been reading that one can do a second planting for fall vegetables. Is that?
Yes, 100%. This is the time to like put in, I think the garden is on its like third planting of like green beans. Like you want to start putting in, if you want to put pumpkins in, that put them in now. You can probably still get away with putting some corn in right now, actually, just because this season has been so wet. It's been a little weird. Like some stuff like we've like pulled out and just like replanted. Like everything feels like it's been a little late this season because of the rain. So it's a good time to kind of clean out and really start to put, I also like to this is the time I like to start looking for deals for fall bulbs. So if you're looking, you want to start putting, flowers out and getting all that ordered, like this is the time to really like get some good deals on some bulbs. Because then most of the time, or even just like perennial plants that you're going to want to put in the fall, you can order them now and they won't ship until the fall anyway. But I feel like it's always best to kind of get a handle on it now and start to figure out what your plan is. I'm a huge fan of doing in the garden, if you have an enclosed garden and you generally always do vegetables in it, is to start doing planting, like order a bunch of like tulip bulbs, because you can't plant tulips because the deer love them. But if you're in an enclosed garden, go for it, and they'll come up way before you're going to plant any of your vegetables anyways. So like you can start to plan and plant stuff that will actually get you some really cool cut flowers when the beds aren't really going to be used. So this is like, I feel like there's always a time to plant a garden, but like now is I feel like the time to start to plan like what you want to plant in fall, and what you can start to, like, it's too late for tomatoes. Like you gotta, like most of that stuff you gotta already have, but you can always put radishes in. You can get, I'm trying to think of like the other things that we have that are like still coming up and we're still planting, but like it's definitely time to start to clean some stuff out, because it'll get moldy with all that rain. And don't be afraid to like clean some of it out and it feels like I just killed half of the zucchini. It's actually probably going to be better for it.
I just posted something. I saw Hudson Valley Seed Company has a lot of good resources, and they have a midsummer sowing article. I think this is probably like a couple weeks ago, kind of midsummer, but I know that they also have, like, they have a whole section for shop fall right now.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
know that they have a really cute calendar. Hudson Place Seed Company is lovely. They had a great, well, I'm sure you can go online and be like, this is our, the weather we have and whatever. So yeah, I think that's good to start like planning that stuff. All right. Anyone have any, or is there any, Jen, is there any other house stuff that you can think of that you would do in the summer?
I mean, I feel like it's always summer. I feel like upstate always is longer in my book, where it's like September is like the sleeper month, where it's still really nice and warm. So like it's still a great time to get some of those outdoor projects done, or like it's not too late because it's actually going to start to like cool down in the evening. So it's still, again, I think a great time to kind of tackle some of the things that feels like you might want to, like, you're like, oh, we'll get it to like next season. Like it's actually a really good time. Like we just finished an outdoor patio in like a week, and it was great because it was, an easy project that we still now get to enjoy for this season, as opposed to waiting, and then we're like, oh, we only get to use it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, like an outdoor shower, painting.
Yeah.
Deck. I mean, anything you can do yourself. So to your question about a pool.
I do have another, I will look for it and find it. If you have if you're having problems with beetles right now, we have zinnias everywhere, and we were having a huge problem with beetles. There are these amazing beetle bags that we started using, and they are a game changer. You just set them up around the perimeter, and they just fall into this like bag of water. They're amazing. Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah. So to the question about a pool, a lot of the in-ground pool companies right now are booked till 2023, 2 years. So that's real. So yes, you should plan for a pool, but for 2 years from now, not for now, at least a year from now. And that's pretty universal across the area. It sucks. I wish it was a different thing to say about that, but that's just real. So, okay. So the other thing I was thinking about, actually, Jen, you can stand for this too, because I think this is another good topic. It's kind of a vegetable-y topic. Is I know that I used to go to, like, when I lived in Brooklyn, I would go to the farmer's market every weekend, and I would go pick up my vegetables and stuff. And here, there's a great farmer's market in Kingston. There's a great farmer's market in New Paltz. There's a new market in Ellenville, where we're going to be next week on July 30th, by the way, Friday evening, 4 to 8. But I don't like go to the farmer's market anymore regularly because it's not one super close to me. I am a member of a CSA here, and I think a lot of people upstate are members of CSAs, which would be like the same one I would have gone probably Brooklyn as I was a member, but I like, you get to drive to the farm and pick up all your vegetables. I guess you probably don't even do that, right? Because you grow so much stuff.
I mean, yeah, I think we go to, we still go to the farmers markets, because I just also feel like there's things that we don't grow, like I like microgreens, or there's different, I also just love to see like what's in season, and seeing kind of, as we've like decided what we're planting, like what tends to do well. But like I still go to the Calico market on Sundays. I love it. I think it's a great way to kind of add to, because we have a big garden, but I think at the same time, like there's just things that we don't grow that I still really love to get more of. So yeah, it's a weird thing when you grow a garden, because I feel like most of the time, like you're not really, it's a lot of work, and it feels like not a lot of produce. Like, I mean, a lot of stuff comes and you're like, I have 7,000 pounds of zucchini, but I don't have like, you might not have the other stuff that you're like, exactly. So I do think it's a good mix.
I think that one of the really, really amazing things about living up here is that you can go to all these farms and like little tiny farm stands and the honor farm stands, and that to me is like the guy who had the most amazing strawberries in Accord on Airport Road, like now has like switched to having other organic vegetables. And so you can just like drive up there, and his dog, like, who just is like free range, just comes up and says hi, and you just like leave your money, and you can get like a little bouquet of sunflowers and also get the tomatoes. I think that's pretty great. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention was pick your own too, because pick your
Yeah.
own, I would say that when, living here, I use pick your own as a way to shop, not just as like a fun Saturday activity. Like I'm like, oh, blueberries, it's blueberry season, and it's like 1,000 times cheaper to get like a quart of pick your own. And it takes 14 seconds when anything's in season, it takes 14 seconds to pick them, because the bushes are like full of berries, or like the, corn is like, you just go and like grab 3 stalks, and then like you're ready for dinner. So I know that like we have Kelders near us and Saunderskill. So we have 2 big pick your own places like 10 minutes from my house. And we kind of treat that as a little bit of a grocery store too, which I love. And I saw that they're doing like potatoes now. This week starts potatoes, which I thought was like, that I've never done. Which I thought was pretty fun. Like you got like a little hoe or whatever, like a little digging.
I mean, the other thing I think is it's so many of them have great plants too. Like we got 2, like we started tomatoes, from seed, but we also got like 2 great tomato plants that were already established, and they looked, and they were already kind of budding earlier in the season. I think that's like the thing I love about, if you think about gardening in the way of like, not everything needs to be planted at once. And actually, if you wait a week here to wait a week there, then all of a sudden, like you're getting more out of it, and it's not all hitting at once. So you hopefully don't have 17 pounds of zucchini all at once. You're actually getting to the place of like, oh, and there are different types of tomatoes, and there's like, it's there. And you can also actually, this is when we don't have a greenhouse. And so we actually, a lot of the local nurseries will start seeds for you. So you can, drop off and like pick what you want, and then be able to have them start them and do them throughout the season. So that you can have stuff that's like later on if you wanted to plant another.
Your own seeds to the nursery? No.
Yeah, we do like a combination. Yeah, because there's some seeds I love that are like, that I get, from a couple different places. So I've been, you kind of drop, like they're like babysitting.
Oh my God, that is wild. And the last topic I have is also kind of a planty one, which is just like what you do with your lawn here. Because I think that's another thing that we get questions about sometimes, and I think that it is fair to say that most lawns here do not look like golf courses. They look like a combination of like clover and plantain and like weird like weedy plants, plus some tufts of grass. Or maybe I'm just saying that looking out at my my own lawn right now. But I think that like this is it's one of the things that, again, before I had a house, I didn't realize it's like a different person that like you could call for help with your lawn generally than you would call for help with like plantings around your house. Like if you wanted a garden, it's like those are not the same people usually. And actually, when we've tried to have them be the same people, it didn't work. Like the lawn guy kind of messed up our plants in one place, and then the expensive landscaping people could not get a lawn to grow. It was like bizarre. So I think that it's something that's good to like, have a very clear idea about how important it is to you to have like a totally weed-free lawn. Like if like I don't care. I literally am like, if it's green, I'm happy, don't care. Like doesn't even look bad to me, So, and I think it's better. I think like when they're little flowers and stuff, obviously anything that's better for pollinators and yada yada is not bad. We tend to also have we have a lawn guy who comes and mows every 2 weeks. So again, like our lawn does not always look perfect, but it looks fine for me. It's like that's a-okay. I think that
and you can find your lawn guy in a lot of different places. Like I started with like a real landscaping company, and then I ended up with like Charlie. I love him. He comes by, he does it part-time, and he just like comes by the house, and he does it on the weekends or whatever, and it's Venmo him, and it's great. So it's like it's a constant like finding, you know, that's like getting to know your neighbors is how you also like find the lawn you like and then ask them who they use.
Well, and then the lawn guy is very often that ends up being the plow guy in winter. It's like the same person
Yeah,
is all, yeah,
90% of the time.
almost always will do plowing. So
Yeah.
I mean, and you know, that's basically, I mean, you can obviously mow your own lawn. People do that, but I also know a lot of people who get help with that, even people who are relatively handy. So it just depends on if that's, yeah. See, look at that. You're actually hiring someone to do something.
I know, see, did it.
What you don't want to do is have to plant a lawn in summer. Like that's like, it's probably better just to wait until fall, even if you're just looking at dirt and you just have new construction, because it's so hard to know if there's going to be enough water and you're going to be watering all the time. The little baby grasses are going to get like burned up and it's not good.
Or in this case, they're going to wash away lately.
In this case, they're going to wash away. Yeah. Those of us who planted this spring, though, I'm having like the best lawn of my life, pretty much.
We also just got ours reseeded. And like, that was something that like we got in Connecticut, we got ours reseeded, which was just something that I'd never really thought about or done, to be honest, because like I'm the same as you. It's like if it's green enough, it's fine. But it was actually really nice to have them kind of just come and like bring in more of the good seed to like actually, and it really helped the lawn. So it's something that we would definitely like continue to do every few years, just to take out, like just to kind of slowly start to like combat the clovers and stuff.
Well, and also we have like, I mean, I know for us, there's like, you end up having ball patches for some reason because you like had a chair somewhere or like whatever. And so then you doing the seating can just help even everything out too. So yeah.
And you can just go to Home Depot and buy a bag. Like literally we just did a bunch of landscape weird stuff and my mom overkilled some grass. I was like, all right, patch it up and it's fine. It'll be up in a couple of weeks. And it's like a small little area.
Well, actually, and I would say that one other thing, maybe this is my last thought of like, because I just ran out of my summer topics, but like you can rent most things. So that's that's something that's good to know, is that like if you need like a lawn seeder for a day, or you need a chainsaw, or you need a sander, like literally almost everywhere you can find a place to rent equipment like that.
Paint sprayer, rototiller. I mean, we did the whole pressure washer. We did the whole front of the house with a rototiller when we were first putting in the wildflower in the front, and we rented it from Home Depot for, I think it was like 3 hours, and we ended up taking us an hour to get back. It was like $50, like totally worth it to not have to find a place to put a rototiller that we need once every kind of 2 years.
Yeah, I was thinking about that recently. I don't know, like we have a little place here called Taylor Rental that like, you know, it's just like, that's all they do is they rent stuff like that. So that's definitely good to know. And then I think like, you know, when I was thinking about like fun stuff and what's fun here and I mean, there's so much, I mean, it's like obviously hiking, and I love to go to busy hiking places, by the way, Sunday evening or late afternoon, because that's when a lot of people who've come up for the weekend are already heading back. So if I want to go hike at like Minnewaska or Mohonk or places that are busy, I do that, you know, during the week, or else Sunday, you know, Sunday late afternoon, and it's like no problem. Same is true for restaurants that are busy. You know, I'll usually try and hit that up on like a Sunday. There's so much stuff that's happening again, like weird specific festivals, and like there was the one that was it like the tractor festival in Callicoon.
The tractor parade.
Tractor parade. Yeah. Like I love that.
I know. I don't think Livingston Manor did it this year, but they had a trout parade. Which was so fun.
Saugerties has a garlic festival. You have places like Opus 40. Also in Saugerties, it does like concerts outside. And I mean, all these places, these historic sites like Olana, and like, I mean, just there's so much going on in summer. And I think that everybody's like kind of trying to get back to what, you know, what's happening with COVID, and there's a lot of staffing shortages nationwide and now, but like I feel like in summer it is just like when I'm looking for fun stuff to do, it takes me 4 seconds online to find something pretty awesome. You know, whether it's like a pop-up dinner thing or like a I don't know, there was like there's that disco in the barn, there was the disco at the roller rink, there's like drive-in movies, there's, you know, farm to table dinners, there's just so much stuff. And it's really, a lot of it is really awesome. So this is the time of year when, you know, if I think of winter as being like you kind of hunker down and hang out at home a lot and cook and read and, you know, invite people over for dinner. Summer is when we're out a lot more, like out and about, having a good time, especially after last year. So, you know, I think that is, you know, I don't even think yard sales. I mean, all of it. It's fun. It's pretty damn fun. So I know one of my worries moving here was that I wouldn't have enough, I could get bored. And it's like, it's so funny when I think about that. Like, it's not, I am never bored here. There's like just too much, if anything. But like, somehow I do more of it. I don't know. Anyways, this is also another topic. It's another topic. Why do I do more stuff than I did when I lived in Brooklyn and just like got overwhelmed by too many opportunities. So does anyone else have any summer questions or tips or unrelated even? If you have another burning house question and you've waited this long, we can certainly handle it. Summer, summer, summer.
Pinch your flowers back now and they'll come back still again. That's the other one. Don't be afraid to pinch all your flowers back so that they, like the zinnias and daisies and black-eyed Susans, pinch them back. They'll come back one more time.
Jan, will you go do that to the farm? We go pinch all the flowers. No, we don't have Susans. We have coneflowers.
Yeah, you can pinch. I mean, once they're dried and they're all seeds, and so you want to get those seeds back out for the next season, and you want it to come back. Yes. Don't worry, I'll send my mom over to the farm and she'll pinch it all back.
The farm that we just bought, like as a team kind of, or the team company, whatever, and Accord has the most amazing flowers. And there's all this like fruit ripening on these trees. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, Jen, you haven't been there for a couple of weeks, but now all of a sudden there's just like the fields are like half bee balm, like this beautiful pale lavender bee balm.
Oh, so good.
Really good. It's really good. So, all right. Well, if nobody has any other questions, we can let you go and enjoy this beautiful. Oh, look, my last summer recommendation. Someday I'm going to get sponsored by Spindrift. I love this. Swear to God, though, if you like any of these like weird seltzer things, Spindrift sparkling grapefruit is like the most delicious thing on earth. Wait, you don't like that one? Are you the only person on our team who doesn't like it? I think I've converted everyone.
I mean, it's fine. I don't need to be sponsored. I'm good.
I mean, I don't need to be sponsored because it costs like nothing. Saying I'm like, you know, spendthrifty. I'm not spendthrifty, I'm spindrifty. No, but I'm just saying that like this makes my summer so good. All right. Oh yeah, you're here for the winter talk too. See?
Every season.
We'll do a fall talk also. And it'll be like, just go outside. Just go outside.
I'll be there.
Go outside, look at some leaves, you're done. All right, awesome. Well, and again, if anybody is in the area, we are going to meet up at this coming Friday. We're gonna have a little Upstate Curious meetup. No, we're not.
No, next Friday.
Tomorrow's Friday. Not tomorrow, but like the one after.
The 30th.
July 30th in Ellenville between 4 and 8 o'clock. It's going to be super fun at the market there. So just putting it out. And we'll do other events, other places. All right. Thank you all. Thanks for being here. Bye.